August 15, 2012, Saudi Arabia. An employee on his shift entered the Aramco offices. He sat on his desk as usual. He placed a USB stick in his computer, like any other employee doing their job, to transfer data. But this one is gonna change Aramco forever, the biggest oil company in the world. Inside it, it had a deadly virus, which is gonna spread quickly, like wildfire, in the company's interconnected web of computers and systems. Shortly after, more than 30,000 computers were infected, and an image showing the American flag burning was shown on every single computer in the company's offices. This was the biggest cyber attack on the company. The heads of Aramco were fearing the worst. What if the hackers could reach the oil storage tanks? Changes in pressure, flow of oil, or temperatures can lead to massive explosions, fire, environmental contamination, billions of dollars in losses, and disruptions in the world's oil supply. So who are the hackers? What is their motivation? And what does Iran and the United States have to do with this attack?
Crippling the oil giants.
The Shamoon virus that attacked Saudi Arabia's Aramco was
called Shamoon, infected computers in the Saudi Arabian state oil company Aramco.
It was a day in the holy month of Ramadan, seemingly a normal day, but for Saudi Arabia, it wasn't. It coincided with an important day in the Hijri calendar, the 27th of Ramadan, which is a holy day for Muslims in Saudi Arabia. The Muslim employees, which represent the majority of the company, were not present. The company only had a handful of foreign non-Muslim employees to keep the workplace in order, so staff were at the bare minimum, creating a perfect opportunity for these hackers to deliver their first strike. At 9:08 a.m., they posted their warning in the paste bin of Aramco, threatening to destroy all their systems and networks. There were no mentions of any data breach or threats to steal information or valuables, because it was an attack on Aramco for the sole purpose of destroying the company that supposedly helps fund the oppressive regime in neighboring countries like Syria, Lebanon, Yemen, and many others according to the hackers' claims. The post was ignored, thinking it was some kind of joke, so no one paid attention to it since most employees were away from the company. Nonetheless, the clock was ticking, and 2 hours later, at 11:08, the virus was activated. It quickly spread through the network. At that moment, a very dangerous virus spread into all the company's computers by copying itself into every single machine. It started erasing all the files permanently and overwriting the main boot records, and if this does not get fixed, it can have devastating results worldwide. Because Aramco is considered one of the largest companies, since more than half of the world's population rely on it to supply power. This dangerous and destructive virus was named Shamoon. The virus began copying itself to other computers. Then, it created a persistent service named NTS service, which allows the virus to remain on the computer system. From there, the virus got full access to the hard drives and started deleting every single file on the computers it was on, and then overrode the main boot, corrupting installed systems. This essentially ruined all the hard drives that were infected by the virus, rendering the computer useless unless they replace the hard drives and install another operating system like Windows again. But if all the computers are infected, does it mean they have to replace all the hard drives? Yes, this would force the company to replace every hard drive for over 30,000 computers, but the damage wasn't just on the hardware side of things. The damage was on a larger scale. Files were deleted, hard drives corrupted, and backup servers were attacked too. The few workers that were there made an emergency call to quickly deal with this before the damage became irreparable. So they all turned to the company's CEO, as he took swift action to try and solve this before it grows bigger and bigger and targets the oil plants and facilities next. Every computer in the company had to be unplugged, even those connected to Aramco's network from other branches worldwide, before they get infected or before inflicting more damage. You see, if they don't go offline, the hackers can cause a national disaster if they attack the oil tanks, isolating the company from any further online threats. And they declared on social media pages that they had to disconnect from their online operations for safety, also to raise awareness concerning the cyberattack, seeing how monumental its scale was. They conducted forensic scans and tried to study the attack in hopes of understanding what it was and where it came from. But upon doing so, there was a problem. Analysts found out that Aramco had very little in terms of cybersecurity, as they only focused on security when it came to the industrial systems at the oil plants. But luckily, those were unaffected, since they were quickly isolated from the main network. When analyzing the virus, they noticed a word repeating itself in the root path, Shamoon, a Persian word that means destructive or wicked. This led the team to suspect that Iranian hackers were behind this, so it made sense for them to put Iran in consideration, especially after seeing the content of the threat message posted before the attack. The damage was already done, and simply isolating the company from any online threats is only a temporary solution, so the CEO ordered immediate action. They flew a large aircraft to Southeast Asia to get a large supply of new hard drives fresh off the factory, to replace all the hard drives in their network of computers. 50,000 hard drives were bought and delivered, which at the time caused a temporary shortage and drove up their prices. Aramco hired dozens of cybersecurity experts from all over the world to study the Shamoon virus and reconstruct Aramco's network infrastructure to make it more secure and impenetrable, to avoid any future cyber attacks and prepare for a potential second strike from the Shamoon virus. Days after the attack, on August 25, 2012, Aramco posted on their social media accounts that they managed to restore all their main internal network services and will now continue their online operations with a more secure system, and the production will continue as it did before the attack. But there was a problem. Images online and in newspapers proved that the production did not continue as smoothly as it was claimed. Photographs of several long lines of oil trucks were spread online, and going back to work was a mess for the employees. For days, there were no operating computers, and transferring information on how much oil should they ship and to whom exactly created chaos outside their online department. Aramco did not reveal the actual damage that was done, which was a lot bigger. Their industrial systems were also affected by the absence of a functional network system, which was needed to note down all the important data and information. And just when you think the situation calmed down, the cunning sword of justice emerged again, posting another message on Aramco's Pastebin on August 29, 2012. In it, they stated that they were not done with Aramco, then proceeded to post important internal information on the message. Information like Aramco systems and accounts, and their passwords that they acquired from the initial attack, and they even posted information about the CEO's accounts and his passwords. This message proves even further that this hacker group isn't a bunch of amateurs. They still had access to the Pastebin. In fact, the hackers attacked Aramco several times after that. Although the damage they dealt was not as bad as the one inflicted with Shamoon, it still negatively affected their workflow, and it wasn't until December of the same year that the company managed to fully stop and restore their operations. Aramco was not the only victim of the Shamoon virus. Qatar's Gas was also hit by Shamoon, only 2 days after Aramco, alongside other energy companies in the MENA region, but the damage was not as big. It has been speculated that Iran is the one to blame for this virus attack. It has been theorized that it was an act of retaliation towards the ties between the US and Saudi Arabia. Seeing how Saudi company was attacked and the image of the American flag burning that was shown in those computers, but Iran denied these accusations. To this day, the cunning sort of justice hacking group still remains mysterious and yet to be caught. And unlike other hacking groups, they were not trying to breach data and steal it. They were like activists trying to take down Aramco and the other companies. Although their true motives still remain a mystery, the fact that they made a powerful doomsday bomb in the form of the Shamoon virus that was able to wipe out and corrupt all the computers in one of the world's biggest companies makes them both fearsome and impressive.